Good evening, Beruchim Habayim Rabotai. Welcome to another edition of our Thursday night's class. Tonight's class is for Refuah Shlema of the Tinoket Adel Bat Alexandra. Hashem should send all her struggles to Sonei Israel and share Refuah Shlema B'mira. Amen v'amen. Amen. I begin tonight with sharing with you an amazing story that I read. And I didn't want to mess up the details, because sometimes I do. So I even wrote it down. The year in the Hebrew count was Hey Tafshin Vav, right after World War II. The Tzanzer Rebbe, Zechet Tzadik Levacha Zchuto Yagen Aleinu, was extremely involved in what we call, in two words, in Lashon HaKodesh, She'erita Pleita, with the Jews that were saved from the terrible tragedy of World War II. And he did whatever he can, to the point that in the 3 years following World War II, the Tzanzer Rebbe opened 37 different yeshivot, batei tomim, and places, food kitchens, and everything to help Jews that were after the war. Unbelievable. Now, just to put things into perspective, the Tzanzer Rebbe lost during the Holocaust a wife and 11 children. And after losing a wife and 11 children, he still had the composure in order to be able to do all that work to help everybody else out. This is not a human thing. After such a tragedy, who would think that somebody would be able to do such a thing? And he was as focused as could be. There was a abandoned military base that was turned into a refugee camp where over 5,000 Jews stayed for a while until they were placed and got the help that they needed to get placed, that the Tzanzer Rebbe frequented to visit. You'll forgive me, I don't know how to pronounce this probably the right way. If somebody does, please correct me. But it was something along the lines of the pronunciation of Flatafing. That was the name of the base, more or less. I'm pronouncing it a drop-off. Once when the Tzanzer Rebbe was there, he went for Yom Kippur. 5,000 Jews, Yom Kippur, need chizuk after World War II. The Rebbe went to be mechazik 5,000 Jews, refugees in a military base. And we can only imagine, and we have some testimonies of what that Yom Kippur was like. She'erita Pleita, those who survived, who made it out alive. And the Rebbe spoke Kippur and he gave a firing speech. And an interesting gentleman showed up to that speech. At that point he was a very prestigious admiral or general in the American Army. And it's a name that we all know. His name was Eisenhower. And he sat amongst the Jews on Kippur of the year Tafshin Vav and listened to the Rebbe's Yom Kippur speech that was in Yiddish, and I don't think Eisenhower knew Yiddish exactly. And he was blown away. He was very impressed by the Rebbe, to the point that he kept on moving up, and at the end of the Rebbe's speech he was sitting directly across from where the Rebbe was, as close as could be, front row seating. Eisenhower was there, and he's blown away from the Rebbe completely. Motzei Kippur, this was his speech before Neilah. Motzei Kippur, he waits till Motzei Kippur. When the Rebbe was done, whatever he was doing, he goes over to the Rebbe, and he tells him, Rabbi, I was amazed by what I just witnessed. And he says, on top of that, I heard that you lost your wife and 11 children, and that you're still able to be who you are amazes me even more. Tell me what you need, and whatever it is that you want for you, for the people here. I'm a powerful man. I'm the most powerful person in the military of the United States of America. I will arrange it for you. What do you think the Rebbe asked for? Food, no, medicine, housing, I don't know. That's what I would ask for, right? And the Rebbe turns to Eisenhower and tells him like this, listen, in 4 days from now, there's a holiday. It's called Sukkot. On that holiday, we have to do a mitzvah called Daled Minim, YITRO, Lulav. He says, over here in this base, in this refugee camp, we don't have access to get Daled Minim. But I know in Italy, they do have. If you'll arrange me Daled Minim for everybody here, I'll be very grateful to you. That was his only request that he asked General Eisenhower for, that Motzei Kippur. And listen to what this man did. He sent a military plane to Italy with the Jewish chaplain that was there to get Daled Minim for these 5,000 Jews that were there in this camp, in this refugee camp. And he brought it back, and they had it for Sukkot. When the Rebbe got it back, heard that it's, he's getting Daled Minim, he was b'simcha tzuma. He had a huge, huge happiness, great, great joy. How could a person be happy after all that? Adam Gadol is. And he turned to Eisenhower and he told him, "What could I do for you? You did for me. It's only fair. What could I do for you?" So he told him back, Eisenhower told him back, "I want a blessing. You're a holy man, I want you to bless me. Give me a blessing." So he said, "What do you want a blessing for?" He says, "I trust you, whatever you want." And the Rebbe blessed him in Yiddish, and there was a translator that translated to him the blessing. And the blessing was that you should get to be in the most powerful position possible in the United States of America, the country that you come from. And now you know how he became the 34th President of the United States. That alone is a story worth retelling, right? But the story is far from over. There was another person who heard this blessing that he got. And he was a military personnel, a prestigious military personnel, not on Eisenhower's level, much lower. And he was in charge of that refugee camp. His name was George Fatan. George Fatan was a known Sonei Israel. He gave a lot of problems to the Jews even after World War II. Him and Jews didn't get along well. But he saw that Eisenhower went to get a blessing, got such a blessing, he wanted a blessing too. So he went to the Rebbe, and he told the Rebbe, I'm in charge over here, I take care of these guys, He didn't tell him how he takes care of them. And give me a blessing. And the Rebbe said a blessing in Hebrew this time, in Lashon HaKodesh. The Rebbe said, Shetamut mita meshuna. In our language it means you should die an abnormal death. And he was waiting for the translator to translate him the blessing of the Rebbe. Hazit the translator, what's he supposed to do now? He didn't know what to do. He's not going to translate that. He's going to risk the lives of all the Jews there. On the other hand, that's what the Rebbe said. And this guy's waiting. Hashem put into the translator these words. And the translator was the one who wrote the story. That's where I got the story from. They put out a sefer from this person who is the Gabbai of the Rebbe and the translator, and it says this story over there that he wrote in his handwriting. He said he told, the way he translated the Rebbe's blessing to this person was that the Rabbi blessed you, that one day you'll become very famous, and they will etch your name in stone forever. Otherwise known as a funeral and a tombstone, but that he didn't pick up on. And if you look up on this guy, his end was he died of mitam mishuna, and he had a big funeral. They made him big honor, and they put him a nice tombstone, and the Rebbe's blessing happened exactly the way the Gabbai was mitagim. And that we say, Zecher tzadikim livracha. Even Chasidei Umot HaOlam. Those who did good for Am Yisrael, we say Zechram should be a blessing for Am Yisrael, and for the world. And Hashem Rishai, and those who dealt with the Jews in other ways, Yilkav, should rot. No, what does this have to do with us? So Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday, right? Yep. So let's try a Jewish Super Bowl tonight. I don't know if any of you are Eagles fans. I was in an airport this week in Philadelphia, and the entire airport was covered with posters, Fly, Eagles, Fly. I'm not sure, maybe they want another nace. Playing a Super Bowl without a quarterback, good luck with that. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not pro or against. To me, football's Chinese, so I couldn't care less what happens. I don't even know who they're playing, that's how little I care. But I will tell you one thing, if you want to save your neshama, I'm not sure the halftime show is a good idea to watch. There were many years that we used to have in the youth a Super Bowl party for the purpose of the boys being able to watch the Super Bowl, and during the halftime we had a Shiur Torah. Wow. This year we're not doing it because Baruch Hashem, the guys graduated that and they don't need it anymore. And they'll probably go learn instead. But many years it was like that. And there was one year that the Giants were in the Super Bowl, more than 1 year, but one of the years the Giants, so of course the New Yorkers then it was a Simcha Gdolah. And there was a student of mine, he used to come every week to the shiur. He lived in Borough Park. He would come every single week to the shiur. Hasidic guy, nice kid. And now he's married, a family, Baruch Hashem, and he was single. And I told him, come to the Super Bowl party. He said, oh, are you crazy? I said, what? So I'm going to come listen to shiur in the middle of a game. And he says, the Giants finally in the Super Bowl. This is my life. I said, it's a shame. So he said, why? I said, because you're going to cause them to lose. If this is your team, why would you want them to lose? So he says, Yaakov, they're not losing. I said, how do you know they're not losing? He said, first of all, this is our season. Finally, this is our season. Second of all, he tells me I made a promise that I'm giving $18,000 to the Purim fund if they win. So what, God's going to mess up $18,000? I said, kid, you got it all wrong. So he said, why? I said, first of all, you can't bribe God. Second of all, $18,000 is a cheap price for a Super Bowl. And third of all, one word of Torah is worth more than that. So it's not an offer. It's not a viable offer at all what you're doing over here. I tried to convince him. I even called him 10 minutes before the game. I said, no, come. Nothing doing. I'm with my friends. They went. They took some place. I don't know what they did there. They're happy or not to find out either. And it didn't sound too Jewish. And they were down in the first quarter. Second, it wasn't working out. By halftime, he calls me and he says, $18,000 for your fund is at stake. I said, I told you, it doesn't work like that. They said, so what can we do? They got to win. I said, it's not too late. Come to the shiur. You better get here quick. He says, I'm in Manhattan. Where's the shiur? I said, it's in Queens. He says, I'm on my way. Him and 3 friends got into a car. I don't want to know how they drove, because when they got here, they didn't look so sane. And they were painted all in the colors of it. They were real machmir, the real way. I don't see any Eagles shirts tonight here, so I guess none of you are fans of Eagles. But, or Patriots shirts, no, I don't see anything. But whatever it is. And they came to the shiur. But it was a good shiur, so the halftime show was way over, and the guys didn't want to go back to the game. They said, Yaakov, continue. There's no rush. I said, but your game, what do you mean? This is your Avodah Zarah. I don't want to take it away from you. They said, no, we heard you on the phone with that guy. Maybe it'll be a zgula for them to win. I said, Rebbeinu Shalom, make it Kiddush Hashem, the Giants should win. And I continued the shiur until suddenly we hear screaming and honking and this all over the streets. What happened? The Giants won the game. And it's a shame we don't have shiurim anymore for the Giants, because since then they haven't done much. And I didn't get no commission that year on the Super Bowl party either. That was also a shame. But now do I know, I'm not saying that that's the legitimate reason that happened in heaven, but it's a cute story that I like sharing on the Thursday before the game. So if you have a shiur daf yomi and you want your team to win, go to the shiur and don't waste your time at the game, and it won't be a bad thing. But anyway, in this week's parasha we read Aseret HaDibrot. It's a good week to go to shul, boys, girls. Make sure every week is a good week to go to shul, but this week for sure everybody has to be in shul Shabbat morning on time for Kriyat Torah. Chazal HaKadoshim say, I heard this from Maran Rav Yaakov itself, that Chazal teach us that when Matan Torah happened and people stood by Har Sinai, nitrapu kol hacholaim, all the sicknesses were healed. Rav Yaakov said a chidush that until today, every year when in shul they read Aseret HaDibrot PARASHAT YITRO, it's a sgula of nitrapu kol hacholaim. If somebody's not well, has a problem medically, whatever it is, but they should get better. Unbelievable. And I want to add on, choli is any problem a person has. So somebody's struggling with something in his life, whatever. Now, Rav Yaakov said it, to be precise, for the person who gets the aliyah, who buys the aliyah. That's why we sell it. And by the way, Chaim, Aseret HaDibrot. And by the way, Chaim, this is our first week that we sell one aliyah, beginning, 30 Yom Kodem HaChag, beginning our Purim Charity Fund campaign. We sell the aliyah for that, so remember Shabbat to announce that. The other aliyah is the shul, but this is where we begin our help for Am Yisrael for the year. But I heard from other rabbis over the years that it's not only if you get the aliyah, it's even if you're in shul by the aliyah. Yitrapu kol hacholaim. So make sure to be by Kriyat Torah and to actually listen and to pay attention. The beginning of Aseret HaDibrot is the mitzvah of emunah. Emunah is a word that we say very freely. Even on the dollar bill it says, in God we trust. I'm not sure if that became the God and that's what we trust in, but it says it at least. No? It's also something. It's a little bit embarrassing that in the Israeli currency it doesn't say in God we trust. But in the American currency it does say in God we trust. It's a little bit embarrassing to think about that. But there's an unbelievable famous story from the Chavetz Chaim itself. And the Chavetz Chaim used to live emunah. He didn't just talk emunah. His whole life was emunah. So the Chavetz Chaim one day was walking to shul and he saw somebody running and he thought he was running to shul probably. But then he passed the shul, he kept on running. So So the next day, he also was walking to shul, and he sees the guy running. He already realized he's not going to shul. So he figured he'll try and talk to him, and to see if he can get him to come to shul. So he stopped him. Chafetz Chaim stopped somebody, obviously he's going to stop. And he told him, Abid, where are you running to? So he said, I'm running to work. So he said, what do you mean to work? He says, my parnos over there. And he points like further down that way. He has to get there. So the Chafetz Chaim told him, who says your parnasah is over there? Maybe your parnasah is over there. You're just running further away from it now. And he walked away. The end of the Adkan is brought down in the story called the story is brought down in a sefer called Chafetz Chaim Upalo. But in the new sefer that just recently came out of manuscripts of people that wrote stories from Chafetz Chaim, it has an addition that the man didn't go to work that day and he came to shul. Chafetz Chaim had an effect on him. It turned his whole life around. Unbelievable thing. How many times in life do we think that we're believers, right? If we take a survey in the room, do you believe in Hashem? Everybody says, of course, well, I'm here. If I didn't believe in Hashem, I wouldn't be here tonight, right? So let me tell you what the Chazon Ish's criteria to be able to test yourself if you believe in Hashem or not. Listen to the Chazon Ish's criteria in Sefer Emunah bitachon to test yourself if you believe in Hashem or not. Let's make an experiment, the Chazon Ish's experiment. Comes the Chazon Ish and writes, if you own a store, let's say you have a retail store, and you sell, I don't know, watches. That's not picked up. You sell exotic watches, whatever. And across the street from you, after 20 years that you're in the spot and nobody else is in the area, you dominate. You have a gold mine. Another guy comes and takes a bigger storefront than you and a fancier storefront than you, and he opens up a watch store and he sells identically the same watches as you for 10% cheaper. Comes the Chazon Ish and writes, now HaKadosh Baruch Hu tests if you're a Baal Emunah. What does it mean, Baal Emunah, you think? We all think. Are you upset or not? Are you scared or not? No. Chazon Ish says that's nothing. If you're scared, you have now pikuras. That's zero. The Chazon Ish says, if you know that guy doesn't know the watch business well, and he's just starting out, if you don't go across the street to help him, to teach him the business, then you don't have emunah. You heard that? You have a store 20 years. A guy opened identical to you across the street. Comes the Chazon Ish and says, you want to test if you have emunah or not? Did you go across the street to teach him the business, or did you not go across the street to teach him the business? No, as anybody has emunah, what's the situation? Would you go across the street? Would you go do that? This is the Chazon Ish test of emunah. Would you go help your competitor build his business? The Chazon Ish explains himself. And when you'll hear his explanation, suddenly you'll realize that this makes sense. It's not far-fetched. Comes the Chazon Ish and writes, it's very simple. Why? Because in Chazal it says that how much money you're going to make this year already was decided on Rosh Hashanah. What wasn't decided on Rosh Hashanah? How much you'll have to work for the money. So if you go help him out, so he'll make all the small sales, and you'll make one big sale and make your money in one shot, and you'll have a very easy year. You won't have to do anything. You'll be able to learn and work all day. But if you don't go help him out, you're going to have to be nickel and diming, changing batteries, and get to the same amount of money at the end of the year. You hear what the Chazon Ish writes? How much money you're going to end up with, that's staying the same either way. Now the question is, how much you're going to have to work for that money. So if you help him, he's going to do all the work for you. And the money you're getting anyway. So you'll make a big sale and have a good day. But if you're not going to help him, then everything's going to be gone. I said this story over once by a askara, a arayat of somebody, over here in Queens, a block away in a house. And it was a very mixed crowd. Some were Shomei Torah Mitzvot, others weren't at that point Shomei Torah Mitzvot yet. And one of the people in the room that wasn't a Shomei Torah Mitzvot yet got up and said, "You are crazy." But he didn't say it about me, he said it about the Chazon Ish. At that point I couldn't stay quiet, and I said, "You better be careful, you're talking about the Chazon Ish, you're playing with your life right now." So he got even angrier and he added on a few more words. Somebody else sitting right there sat him down and said, "You out of all people don't know that this is true?" And he says, "What do you mean?" He says, "You're my partner," his own partner, who was a non-religious guy also at that point. Today they're both Shomei Shabbat, by the way. He says, you should know better than everybody how true this is. So, and the partners are looking at each other like, what? What am I missing in the business? So he says, what happened to us this morning? He says, what happened this morning? What turns out, this is a mind-boggling story. The guy said over in public. This guy's on 47th Street and he has a booth somewhere. They sell some sort of jewelry. And a lady came into him and tells him that she needs a favor. What's the favor? She wants to buy a certain piece of jewelry, and she explains him exactly what it is, which happens to be an item that he has right there sitting in the showcase. And she points to it, he says, like this. But she wants to pay in euros. And the guy who she thought of buying it from doesn't want to accept euros. So she wants him to sell it to him. They said, who are you going to buy it from? So she says the name. It was the name of another Jew. He said, I don't know why he doesn't want to take euros, but I'm not going to take away parnasa from another Jew. She went to him first. Why should I take the custom? So this guy said, give me the euros. And he went to his safe. He took out dollars. And he gave her a free change service to go buy a bracelet from the competitor. The guy turned down the sale, right? If he would have took the sale, if he did nothing wrong. The guy went and turned down the sale. He said, I don't want to take euros. And he went to his safe, changed money for free for this lady, a Goya tourist, gave her the money in dollars and said, go back to him. I don't take money away from another person. She went back to the other store and she bought that bracelet. That bracelet cost $4,000. I don't know what the profit margins are in jewelry, but even if they're $3,999 out of $4,000, that's the extent of the possible profit. He says, you won't believe it. An hour later, the lady comes back. He's like, now what? She needs more. I'm not a change point. He was already, He says, I was just thinking about it. It's crazy what you did. Why didn't you take the sale? He told her, I'll tell you the truth, because I believe that God decides what's mine and what's not. And I'm not going to take away money from my friend. You went to him first. I'm not going to take it away. He probably didn't know what euros are, didn't know the exchange rate, whatever. He was scared to deal with it. I'm not scared, so I helped a friend out. He says, and this $4,000 sale is not going to make me rich or poor. He says, so you're the guy I'm looking for. Whoa, what are you looking for? He said, my son is getting engaged in a few days. And I need a stone. 6 carat. Emerald cut. D flawless. Can you arrange it for me? Because I only want to deal with an honest guy. And obviously you're an honest guy. Do you think he made more than $3,999 on that stone? Did he make his monthly, maybe yearly right there? Now imagine he would have taken the $4,000 sale for himself. And now the girls are saying, boys, make sure that's the stone I want too. And this is what a guy got up and said in public in front of everybody and told his brother, this is what we experience today. We live this Chazonish life today ourselves. We helped our competitor and God gave us parnasa for the whole year. And you're yelling at it. And today, and the story happened a little less than 2 years ago, they're both Shomrei Torah Mitzvot because of that night. When the part of that was anti, realized and it hit him what emunah means, now Hashem runs the world. So wait a second, so who am I fighting? I'm fighting the one who's doing everything for me? Why would I fight the one who's doing everything for me? If you have a top salesman in your company, you're going to fight with him? That's the last person you fight with. If he asks you for a raise, you bow down, whatever he says, you say, Amen. You're not going to lose your top performer. This is my top performer, God, who's performing everything for me. That's what I'm going to lose in my life? No way in the world. And that's how they both became Shomrei Torah Mitzvot. Unbelievable story. But emunah in theory is easy. Emunah in reality is a completely different story. Tov lo dot la Hashem. All of us praise God. Yeah, Hashem, so great. We all do it. We do it, it's lip service, it's fake. Sorry to break your news. But when is emunah really tested? Ve'emunatcha baleilot. Agid baboker chazdecha. To say Hashem's praise is very easy. Ve'emunatcha, but when is emunah tested? Baleilot, when everything looks dark, and nothing's working out right, and everything's stacked against me in life, and I don't, it's not working out, and I don't feel well, and it's not, and it's not, and it's not, and it's not, and the afal pikein emuna. The afal pikein emuna. Along those lines, I'll share with you another amazing story that I happen to be one of the people in the story. That's how I know it. When I built my home in Lakewood a few years ago, so there was an amazing person, a close friend, who was starting in the construction business. And when you start, nobody likes giving you jobs because you don't really have much of a track record. He heard I want to build a home. He came to me and he told me, can I get the job? So of course my friends told me, what are you, crazy? He's a good guy, but he's going to mess it up because he's new. Not because he's bad, he's just new. And he's your close friend. You're going to end up losing a friend and not having a house the way you want. And what are you doing this for? And I am a little naive. What should we do? And I said, no, if the Rebbe wants me to have problems in the house, I'll have it anyway. And if not, not. And to help a Yid start a new parnosa, what could be better? And I told him, you got the job. I said, it's all yours. You got it. The world wasn't on my side. And I want to tell you the interesting thing. I said, but I told him I don't like surprises. So I'm trusting you, you're going to do the job right. Honestly, you could cheat me all you want because I wouldn't know the difference anyway. What do I know about construction? But I'm literally trusting you. But I need to know how much money it's going to cost in advance because this cost plus story doesn't work for me. Give me a price, whatever the price is. If I can afford it, I tell you yes. If not, no. And that's the end. He gave me a price. The price made sense to me. I called somebody else. I said, does this make sense? Somebody who knows what he's doing in this business. He says, it makes sense. Yeah, it's a very fair price for what you want. We didn't even sign a contract. We shook hands. That was the end of it. I left him with his first deposit and started his work. Leah and I did a beautiful job. And he finished his job. At the end of the job, I overheard him telling somebody, it was by my Chanukat Abayit, I overheard him telling somebody that when he was new, so he didn't really know the cost of material and this and that. So when he priced the house, he priced it a little off. And he worked for a few months now, and he didn't make one penny. He didn't lose money, but he didn't make a penny. And I heard that, and I was horrified. The guy really gave his heart and soul. He was there every day. He did a great job, beautiful out. Didn't make a penny. Next day I went to his office. I told him, listen, you're my friend. I overheard the conversation. I know it's not nice to listen to other people's conversations. Al pi halacha, I don't have to give you anything. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to let my friend work for free. Here's an amount of money. It's a large amount. I want to give you whatever it is. And he said, Tzaddik parnosas from Hashem. And if Hashem would have wanted me to make money, He would have sent me the money. And this is already gifts. So your gifts I don't need. I said, but you're not a wealthy person, and you're just starting out. And you deserve it, and I'm giving it to you from my whole heart. And it's not charity, and it's not nothing. You did a beautiful job, better than expected. Take it. No matter what, not. I didn't want to hear about it. I didn't feel comfortable for weeks. Every time I would see him, I would, again, what do you hear? That person begs somebody else to take his money, right? But that's called Yoshib. Honestly, a guy did a job right. He gave his heart and that. He was new, he mispriced it, so now you have to hold it against him. It's not that he wasn't ripping me off. Even with what I was going to give him, it was still a good deal. He didn't want to hear about it, to the point that at the fourth or fifth time that I mentioned it to him, he told me, Yaakov, one more word and we're done. Our friendship's over. I don't want nothing from you. At the end, I think he agreed to take $3,000 to give somebody else, a relative of his, that also helped a little bit. I don't know, some joke. But for himself, yeah, no. One day a guy calls me, a student of mine from Brooklyn, and he tells me he has 2 kids that are about to get married, and he wants to build for them houses. He's a wealthy man. And he said, I'm not looking for a fancy contractor. I'm looking for an honest contractor. Do you have a guy? I said, I have a guy who built my house. He said, how do you know he's honest? I told him the story. He said, I like it. He took him for 2 houses. Let's fast forward 5 years. Today, he's the largest contractor in our area, by far. Extremely wealthy, one of the biggest balit tzedakah around. Because when a person goes with emunah, and he goes with the emes, and with the understanding, parnosas from Hashem, and it's not in your hands to manipulate. But Hashem says, you went with me, I'm your partner. And God doesn't fail. He doesn't call bad shots. And if something's going wrong in your business, go look where the emunah is going wrong, because that's what's going wrong. If it's not working out, go look where your tzedakahs maybe aren't right. Go look what's wrong there. Find the problem at the source and take care of it over there. But in order to do that, you also have to give credit to where credit's due. And that's another way to test your faith. When you do well at something, you say, I got 100 on my test, I graduated with straight A's. But you say, Hashem helped me, and He did the job for me, and that's how I got straight A's. If you say, I just graduated valedictorian, so you're not pikolis, because you didn't do anything. But if you say, Hashem helped me graduate with straight A's, so then you're a Bal Emunah. But in life, sometimes we have to be a little bit bribed. So I'm going to bribe you to understand this concept a little bit. In the old shtetl, they didn't have money in Europe. So it's not like today, on every street corner we have a mikveh for men, for women, for Kadisha has their own. Each one has their own. They had one mikveh in town, and they had to work it out, in times. And so on Friday, the men were going to the mikveh, and on Motzei Shabbos, the Kadisha was doing a tahara for a dead body in the same mikveh. It wasn't so pleasant. One night, the new guy moved to town, and he knows that's the way it is, one mikveh in town. He's walking by the mikveh, and he hears people talking. He says, help him put his arm in, help him put the leg in, put it. So what was he sure? It's the Chevra Kadisha doing a tahara for a body before they bury it. So he was curious. So he stood outside to wait to hear who passed away. He was going to wait till the Chevra Kadisha come out to ask them who passed away. When's the Levaya? He wanted to do a mitzvah. Suddenly he hears somebody say, thank you very much, I would have never been able to go to the mikveh without you. What did he realize? It was a handicapped guy. He wanted to go to the mikveh. He couldn't do it alone. So a few of his friends helped him to be able to go. Meaning, until the guy didn't say thank you, he didn't hear him talk, so it was a dead person in his mind. But when he heard the thank you, that's when he said, oh, it's a live person, Baruch Hashem. Huh? Maybe he's handicapped, Hashem should send him for Shlema, but it's a live person. Come the holy rabbis and say that's the mashal. And the nimshal is very simple. As long as a person doesn't say it's the Rebbeinu Shalom, he's a dead person. Lo ameitim hallelujah. Dead people don't praise God. But va'anachnu nevarech ka. When does a Jew know that he's alive? That his spark of Judaism is really alive in him? When every single thing that happens to him in his life, he says, thank you, Rebbeinu Shalom, another gift that I got from you with love. That's the temperament that we are able to tell if the emunah exists or not in another way of testing. Based on this, I want to say a big chidush. In the Akdama to the Iglei Tal, on Masechet Shabbat, not on Masechet, on Lametet Melachot of Shabbat, the Iglei Tal discusses a very interesting thing. Chazal HaKadoshim say, mitzvot lav lehenot nitnu. Mitzvot weren't given for the sake of pleasure. Mitzvah was given for Hashem. Hashem said to do a mitzvah, that's the reason. Except the mitzvot that clearly say otherwise, but in general. Because if that's the case, how could it be that we get up in the morning and we daven and we say, Va'arevna Hashem Elokeinu in divrei Toratcha. Hashem should make that when we learn Torah, the Torah should be sweet. That wasn't the point. The point of Torah is to learn Torah, period. I'm concluding a very interesting thing. That a chelik, a part of the etzem mitzvah of learning Torah is enjoying every word of the Torah. He says, not only is that not an external pleasure that's not supposed to be there, that is the mitzvah. And the more a person enjoys his learning, the more he actually kept the mitzvah of Talmud Torah. And the poskim later on make a parallel like that to many other mitzvot as well. That's a very famous Iglei Tal, and the Ulama Yeshivot they talk about it. I was thinking today in the afternoon, how does we relate to that? What does that mean to me? And this is what I came up with. One of the mitzvot of the Torah in this week's PARASHAT, the Aseret HaDibrot, is Zachot Yom HaShabbat L'Kadsho. Mitzvah of Shmirat Shabbat. Shabbat is supposed to be a day shekula oneg. Oneg Shabbat, a day of pleasure. La'aleinu v'la'alechem, we should never know by a very, very large percentage of Klal Yisrael, even that does keep Shabbat. Shabbat's almost a pain in the neck. Hashem Yirachim. When's Shabbat over? God forbid Avit started 2 minutes late, everybody wants to go on strike. When's Havdalah already? Before Shabbat started, we already know what time Shabbat's over. That's what goes on. My phone, I need a cigarette, this, that. All the emergencies, all the crises of Shabbat. The Shabbat, instead of becoming an oneg, became a... How did Chazal describe Shabbat? Matana tova yesh li b'beit nazai. Because Baruch Hu calls it as a great gift. And this great gift is Shabbat. If you give me a gift, how do you know that I liked your gift? If I smile when I get it and I use it. If I don't smile when I get it and I don't enjoy it, so that means I already had it. I didn't need your gift. And I just went to the closet with everything else. When you give a gift to somebody, you do it from the heart. I'm not talking about formal gifts and business gifts. Your friend, your brother, your sister, whatever. You give them a gift. That means, why do you do it? Number one, to show that you care or that you love or whatever it is. And number two, that you wanted to see the other person happy. You wanted to cause somebody else to be happy, somebody that's important to you in your life to be happy. Those are, on a very shallow level, two of the psychological elements of giving a gift. If you buy your brother an expensive car, and he leaves it in the garage and he never takes it out even once, are you going to get him another one afterwards? No. What do I waste my money for? Anyway, I can't make you happy, so then at that point, what's the point of the gift? There's no purpose in it. Meaning, but if on the other hand, if you bought your brother a car, or leased him a car, and you see he uses it, and he calls you once in a while and says, it's such a pleasure from the car you got me, thank you so much, unbelievable. Then, if you could afford it, could be you'll do it again. Because you see how much joy you brought to his life. It's your brother, you want to give him, you want to help him. If that's the case, HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives us gift after gift after gift. Our life is the biggest gift of all. If Hashem sees that you enjoy life, so He keeps you alive and healthy. He says, you like the gift I gave you. But if He sees that all day long you're complaining about your life, so He says, so what do I need to keep you happy for? What do I need to keep you healthy for? You don't appreciate the gift I gave you anyway. You're just complaining about it. You just dumped it in the closet. If you do something productive with your life, so there's a reason for you to be here tomorrow. But if you don't do something productive, that's like the kid who left the car in the garage. Then what's left at that point? Part of Emunah is to enjoy your life. Because by enjoying your life, you're recognizing Hashem gave it to me. And if I got a gift from God, I feel great. To put it into very shallow terms, just in comparison, Kaviyachol to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it's not shallow, it's a great thing. But imagine Rav Yaakov Yosef was still alive and he was here in Queens, and he came over to you at the end of the class tonight and he said, I brought specially from my library in Israel a sefer as a gift. And he hands you a sefer with his name signed in it and that. To you with love, here's a gift, a sefer. Are you going to feel good that night when you go to sleep? That instead of your phone being near your pillow, which by the way is extremely unhealthy, the sefer is going to be near your pillow. You think I'm joking about the unhealthy part? Would you go into a microwave and spin yourself around a little bit? When you put your cell phone when you sleep by your pillow, that's what you're doing. You're in a microwave the whole night. And then you want to know why the youth's brains are fried today. That's why, it's overcooked. I'm not sure I'm far off on that one. But anyway, you're going to put the sefer near your pillow. Every person who comes, you're going to show it. Well, every time you're in a bad mood, you'll look at it, you'll smile. I know, I got a gift from Rav Yaakov like that. I know what it feels like. No, so if HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave you a neshama in the morning, Hashem is less than Rav Yaakov? And your neshama is less than a sefer that are printed thousands of copies of? He made you an individual. There are no two people the same in this world. And that's not a reason to be happy. So you don't believe that Hashem gave you a neshama this morning. That's the answer. So next time you're in a bad mood, say, I either don't believe in Hashem, or now I'm going to smile. And you're going to start smiling. It works, I'm telling you. I'm a moody kind of guy. And I tried it on myself many times, and it works. He suddenly realized, the Rebbe of himself, that's all he had to do today, to give me back my soul. Forget about if it worked out, my day, it didn't work out. Those are all trivial facts after that. That's how much he cared and thought about me. That's it. No, I have a reason to dance already. There's a reason to be b'simcha already. Where do we go wrong? That to us, God is one entity, that's a way, and we're a separate entity. We forget that we are a part of God. There was a Rav in Chicago, I wish I remembered his name. He passed away about 40 years ago, I'm estimating, based on his farm. So then there was he writes in one of his farm an interesting story. He said that he once had to go from Chicago to New York. The flights back then, I don't know if they were common or expensive, I don't know what it was, but a plane wasn't an option for him then. And it seems like there was some sort of combination of trains that he was able to take from Chicago to get to New York. Today you can actually take a train the whole way, Amtrak. But then the trains weren't as sophisticated as today, So it took much longer. So it was, I think he writes in the Sefer, it was 2.5 days on the train to get from Chicago to New York. So they had these rooms you can rent. It was like a hotel. You had a bed and a thing. You're going to live there for 2.5 days. You can't exactly sit on a chair 2.5 days. And he said he was, for the nicer rooms, I guess we'll call it the first class of the train. So they had a service that at night you put your shoes before you went to sleep outside of the door. And somebody would take it. By the time you woke up in the morning, it was back and they used to polish a few. That was like a perk. Like today in hotels we have a turn-down service, so then they had a shoe service. That was the service on the train. Except the second night he was on the train, he left his shoes out. He figured he's coming to New York. They have free service, they have nice shoes, why not? He wakes up in the morning and he opens the door. He has to put on his shoes before davening, right? And his eyes turn dark. He sees that one of his shoes is there, a black shoe. And then he sees another, there was a second shoe there, just it wasn't black, it was white, and it wasn't a man's shoe, it was a woman's shoe, and it was with a high heel too. Men are not so good at walking on heels. Now what? He's on a train, there's no mall to go buy a new pair of shoes. So he says that he writes over there in the Sefer, there was a button that you can call somebody to help you. I don't know what, I guess a bell of some sort. Some guy comes. I'm going to be politically correct. He wrote exactly the description of the guy. I'm going to skip that part of the story. You use your imagination. And he says, yes, sir, what can I do? He shows him the shoes. He says, buddy, I don't know if it is you or somebody else, but I didn't get my second shoe back. Maybe there's a way to figure out what's going on. And he says the guy turns pale and starts trembling and tells him, mister, you won't believe it. He said, what? He said, this is a crazy day in my life. So he says, what do you mean it's a crazy day? He said, I've been working on this train already for many years. And I never had one complaint about such a story. Today, you're already the second person that's complaining that they got a wrong shoe back. What an idiot, right? Yeah, thank God I'm the second person. Now let me meet the other person and get my shoe. And comes this Rav and writes in his Sefer an unbelievable thing. He says, this is a story that happened with him. He said he came to New York and he spoke. And the darash that he gave in New York was this story. And he said, some people wake up in the morning and they forget that the neshama is a part of God. And now they're in a bad mood because the shoes don't match. The way they think that they're supposed to go doesn't match with what the day is really going. And they don't realize that it's not two separate entities. It's one entity. And if something's going wrong, it's not going wrong. It's going the way Hashem decided that it should go. And if something's going right, it's not going right. It's going the way Hashem decided it should go. And your neshama is sachakol, a part of the Rebbe Shalom. That's all it is. He said, and that's the Musar scale that he learned on that train from that guy. Unbelievable thing. No, if that's the case, so you see the importance in acknowledging the great gifts that one gets from Borei Olam. I want to end off, I have so much more to say, but I'm past my time. I want to end, I'm in a huge rush tonight to leave. Whoever needs to talk to me, I'm sorry, you'll call me or something, I don't know. I want to end off with a thought. The Holy Belzer Rebbe, Zechat Tzadik Levachas Chotei Yagen Aleinu, not the current one, his father. Had a couple that came into him, they didn't have children for 11 years. And they said, Rebbe, what should we do? And the Rebbe looked at the husband and he said, when you were born, did your parents make you a Shalom Zocha Friday night? Well, as far as we don't have that custom, but Ashkenaz, they do that. The husband said, how am I supposed to know? I know what my parents did when I was born. He said, are they still alive? No. Is there anybody that friend's alive? He said, yeah. He said, go find out. He said, so he told the Rebbe, what does that have to do with anything? So the Rebbe told him, I have a feeling they didn't. He went to his father's friends that were still alive, and he said, when I was born, my father made me a Shalom Zocha. This man's in his mid-30s. He's looking at, his father's not even alive anymore. He's looking like, what? The Rebbe wants to know. He said, honestly, it was already, you were born Friday afternoon, right before Shabbat, and there was no time to arrange it. So he didn't have it. He goes back to the Rebbe and he says, Rebbe, no, I didn't have one. So the Rebbe says, this Friday night by my tish, we're making you a Shalom Zocha. This guy's in his mid-30s. Because a newborn. And that Friday night, the Rebbe by the Tish made him a Shalom Zoch. With the whole thing. They have a custom, they have chickpeas and beer and that and the whole deal. The whole thing, like as if it was a newborn. And the Rebbe afterwards called him over and told him, Mazel Tov, in 9 months you're going to make a Shalom Zoch yourself. And exactly 9 months later, his wife had a baby boy and he made a Shalom Zoch on Friday night. When he went into the Rebbe to offer him to be a sandak, so he asked the Rebbe, what was that? What type of miracle was that? He says, very simple. What's a Shalom Zoch? It has no meaning. He says, it's an opportunity to say thank you to Hashem. Have another healthy baby. He said, and it doesn't make a difference last minute, not last minute. There was time, there was no time. If a baby's missing a thank you, then his life, his neshama is missing something forever. And if his neshama is missing something, he can't bring another neshama to the world. So we made you a Shalom Zoch. We say thank you to Hashem that you came to the world. And now your neshama was full and could bring another neshama to the world. You were able to have a baby. And I know from a couple of different people that told me stories themselves that they had daughters that had problems with shidduchim and they went to the Steipler's and the Steipler's first question before anything was, did they make a big kiddush for them in shul on Shabbat morning when they were born? And if they said no, the Steipler said make a kiddush right away. The girl's already 25, what kiddush? And when they made a kiddush, boom. A few months later, the girl gets engaged. I know a few stories like that. And when I heard this from people that told me about their kids, we're talking about people that today are in their 70s, that told me about the Steipler told them, so I started telling this to people. Now they're embarrassed, right? The girl in general is not going to go to a shul and make herself a kiddush one Shabbos. So we made an arrangement in one of my synagogues in Lakewood where we make kiddushim every week each week for a different girl to another kiddush. And we are the amount of thank you letters that I get, unreal. Because the Steipler taught Klal Yisrael and Yisod. He said if you don't appreciate what you got, it can't sustain itself later on in life. If you appreciate the gift that was given to you, then it has a chance to sustain itself. That's emunah. If you didn't think that something was important enough to make a celebration for, then what does that mean? You don't understand that Hashem gave you a gift. You took it for granted. Yeah, naturally, I got married, I had a kid. What's the problem? So Hashem says, oh, you think you're that? Okay. Then this is already damaged goods. But if you understand that it was a gift, if you understand that it was all a chesed Hashem, then at that point, a gift is going to already continue further. Chatam Sofer, in last week's parasha, says a chidush that's, I don't, for lack of better terms, Hashem should forgive me, but I don't have a better term, it's wild. It's a chidush, it's hard to understand. Chatam Sofer says God punishes people midah keneged midah, to the good or the bad. But in this case, we're talking about the bad. So, the Egyptians drowned Jewish kids in the Nilus, in the Nile River. Why weren't the Egyptians drowned in the Nile River? Should have been midah keneged midah. They did it in that river. And also there was no room. Hashem has a way to work it out in any case. Second of all, it's a pretty big river. He says more than that. He says they used to believe, Paro used to say, Li yori v'ani asitini, that he's God and the river is the assistant to God. That means the Nile River was an avodah zarah. So if the Nes of Yitziat Mitzrayim would have happened using the Nile River, it would have been even a bigger Kiddush Hashem. Because exactly the avodah zarah, just like by Makat Dam that got hit, would have made Hashem's name glorified even more. So why did Hashem do it not there? Why didn't I at least use it as part of the miracle? Comes the Chatam Sofer and says, very simple. Because we learn out from the Pasuk that a person is not allowed to go back to Mitzrayim. You're not allowed to go back to Egypt, only if it's Tzorch Parnasah or whatever, but otherwise you're not allowed to go to Egypt. To go on a trip, tourism to Egypt, you're not allowed to go up there. It's an Issa. We learn out from Pasuk. I don't know if it's a smart idea to go there anyway these days, but one way or the other. He says, the halacha says, let's say somebody b'aminah, we should never know, had an accident outside. And he got saved. Every time he drives by that spot on the street, he has to make a blessing. Baruch she'asa li nes b'makom hazeh. Blessed is the God that made me a miracle in this spot. Every single time. More than that, if it didn't happen to him, it happened to his father. Every time he goes by that spot, he has to make a blessing. Baruch she'asa le'avi nes b'makom hazeh. Blessed is the God that made my father a miracle in this place. When I drive over the George Washington Bridge to come to the Shia on Wednesday and Thursday, there's one spot that my father once had a terrible accident and he was saved b'derech nes. There's no way to explain how he was saved. Till today, every single time, we all know, even grandchildren. You make a bracha, Baruch Shasal Savi Nes B'makom Hazeh. To remember the Nes, to never forget Hashem's chesed. He said, if there's an Isur to go back to Mitzrayim, comes the Chatam Sofer and says, so we'll never be able to say thank you to Hashem for the Nes. You won't be able to be by the place to say Baruch Shasal Nes B'makom Hazeh. That's why HaKadosh Baruch Hu went and made the Nes in other waters, spit the Egyptians out on the other side, so there'll still be a place that the Jews are able to see. So all that, not midah keneged midah, just so we should be able to say thank you. That's how important somebody's thank you is. And if that's the case, we conclude with the words of the Holy Baal Shem Tov, Zecher Tzadik V'Chas Chotei Yagen Aleinu. Baal Shem Tov says, we say in the prayer, V'ata Kadosh Yoshev Tehilot Yisrael. In Hebrew, in the slang, Lahavdil, this is not what the Baal Shem Tov said, I'm just trying to break it down. When somebody is, sitting on a lot of money, so it's called Yoshev Tov. He's sitting well. Sits on a, you know what this guy's sitting on, how many buildings, how many assets, how many this, how many that, right? That's what we thought. He says, so what's HaKadosh Baruch Hu sitting on? V'ata Kadosh, what is Hashem sitting on? Yoshev Tehilot Yisrael, the thank yous that Klal Yisrael gives. Hashem's greatest nachat in the entire world is the thank you that a Jew gives to Rebbe. And the reason why the thank you that the Jew gives to Rebbe is so important is because in that thank you there's the identification of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And I said that was the last thing, but I lied. One more detail. Chazal learn out that Em is the Tchiyat HaMeitim in the Torah minayin. How do we know Tchiyat HaMeitim from the Torah? There's no pasuk in the Torah that says Tchiyat HaMeitim, right? It doesn't exist. Look at Chamisha Chumshei Torah, it doesn't exist. So Gemara and Sanhedrin discusses it. Em is the Tchiyat HaMeitim in the Torah minayin. Rashi, if you look in last week's parasha, brings down a remez from Chazal. Az Yashiru Moshe Uvnei Yisrael. Az is the future. Az Yashiru Moshe Uvnei Yisrael. That means that there's going to be a day that they'll sing again. Obviously, the people are going to have to come back to life to sing again. Dead people can't sing. That's a remez. Remez for Tchiyat HaMeitim. If that's the case, I'm sure the girls here have the question, because they know Tehillim better than the boys in general. How many psukim could you girls remember offhand in Tehillim that says future? Tons. There's no end to psukim like that. Yasu Ege Masecha, tons of psukim like that. All going on the future. Right? That one is Tehillim Kuvav. Many others. So why dafka this one? Az Yashir Moshe. Come to Sfarim HaKadoshim. I saw this in the Sefer. I don't remember which one. You'll forgive me. And right, unbelievable thing. All the psukim, future, what is that? That's not a Tchiyat HaMeitim. It doesn't say when it's going to happen. Maybe it's just the next generation. Az Yashir Moshe, dafka, a song, a praise, a thank you to the Rebbe Shalom, that's Tchiyat HaMeitim. And I want to add on and say that when a person feels dead inside and everything's going wrong, if he'll find it within himself to find something to thank Hashem for, he'll make himself a Tchiyat HaMeitim already right now. He'll bring himself to life right now. Chazal HaKadoshim say 30 days before the Chag, you begin preparing for the Yom Tov, even though, of course, the Torah says that could be it's only by Pesach because of Chotav Merubim, but other holidays are not like that. L'maaseh, it definitely doesn't hurt. Where in less than 30 days from now is the holiest day of the year, Purim. We have to start with our Chana for Purim. I'm sure you all started with the learning for Purim, the halachot, and everything else. I don't mean the costumes. The important parts of Purim. It's a day that you could be nosha 100% and everything. And there are a lot of people in this room that will testify from last year to this year what you short they had from doing Purim the right way. Our mitzvah for the next 60 days as a group, and you know this is my life and everything that I live for year round, is called mitzvah tzedakah, that we distribute. This year it's going to be Hashem should give us the siyat dishmaya, millions of shekel, many millions of shekel in Israel, the Talmidei Chacham that are poor, and your hachana for Purim that's more important than every other hachana, and your hachana for Pesach as well, the house your mother cleans and this, you go to a hotel, is from now. You open a savings account, I don't know what you got to do. You put aside money every day for Aniyim, that before Purim you come, you give it in to us, so we should be able to distribute in a respectful way the thousands of families of Talmidei Chachamim that are poor to ways that I'll describe to you some other time, in a way that they should be able to have a happy Purim and a respectful Pesach in the right way. This is our preparation for the holiday. B'nafshiyu, this is the thing that's in my blood. Last week they sang me happy birthday and brought me cake. And all day long people send me thank you text messages. honestly, I love you, thank you, it's very nice of you and that, but you don't owe me anything. I live for Klal Yisrael. I don't want nothing from nobody. I never took a dollar from anybody, Baruch Hashem. If you want to tell me thank you, there's only one way to do it. And that's, this is my mitzvah of the year. This is my blood. My life revolves around this. Whatever we can do to expand this operation, to make sure that there's not one person, you know, we start with Talmidei Chachamim, but honestly, if it was up to me, and Hashem gives us the ability to raise the funds, I don't want one person in the whole Israel that's a Jew, that they shouldn't have a respectable Pesach, Kasher L'Madin, in the most nice way possible. That everybody should be an equal this year. And that for sure will bring Mashiach. We won't get to the point. If we do the ishtadlus for that, so plan it from now, gauge it from now, and this is your mitzvah Purim. And I'll give you a bribe again, because I like bribing people. If you do that, then come to me on Purim by the Sudas Purim when I'm drunk, and Bli Neder, I'll take care of what you need. Bruchim to you, Hashem.